Welcome to another broadcast of the Lorain County Commissioners' General Meeting. Unless otherwise announced, meetings are held Thursday mornings at 9:30 at the Lorain County Administration Building, 226 Middle Avenue, 4th floor, downtown Elyria. These are public meetings, and as always, you are invited to attend.
Would you stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please? Good morning, and welcome to the April 10th meeting of the Lorain County Board of Commissioners. Commissioner Lori is the dog lady for today.
Got a nice little treat for somebody. What did you say? It's a fox terrier mix? Yeah, it's a male. Very cute, nice personality. We have a lot of dogs to choose from at our dog kennel, so come down and get yourself a pet. This one's cute. I might take this one home myself. Saturday, he's available at 3 o'clock, so come on down. Thanks.
Thank you, Commissioner. A thought for today. Whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right. Madam Clerk?
At 10 o'clock, there's going to be a public hearing, which is the TEFRA hearing for Community Health Partners, County of Allen, Ohio, Hospital Facilities Revenue Bond Series 2008. Under Resolutions Number 1, Job and Family Services Bills.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Investments.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Appropriations.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Transfers.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
No advances, no repayments, requisitions.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Travel expenses.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Bills.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Under the Commissioners, authorize various personnel actions as indicated on the summary for employees within jurisdiction of Lorain County Commissioners.
Mr. Cortez?
Thank you, Madam Commissioner. I do have a couple quick issues regarding issues of bargaining and ongoing labor negotiations that I'd like to discuss with the board in executive session. And I have one potential personnel issue for hiring. Both subjects are permissible under the Sunshine Law, so I would request we have an executive session at the conclusion of our regular board meeting today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Approve and waive the reading of the same for Lorain County Board of Commissioners meeting minutes for March 27th and April 3rd, 2008.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Under Community Development, instruct the clerk to advertise the second public hearing for CDBG Small Cities to be held April 24th at 10 a.m. in the Commissioners' Public Hearing Room, and this will be published in the Chronicle on April 14th.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Under Job and Family Services, instruct the clerk to advertise requests for various proposals on April 14th and 21st and open the Commissioners' hearing room on April 28th. 1. Personal development, self-exploration, asset discovery, and environmental education program open at 2 p.m. and published in the Journal. Career Counseling Services open at 2:15 and published in the Chronicle. And Fast Track GED and ESOL programs open at 2:30 and published in the Journal.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Under the engineer, award contract to Gregory Trucking, Inc., Elyria, in the amount of $85,875 for limestone aggregate for the Highway Department. 4 bids were received and are within 3% of the local preference. Estimate was $100,000 and will be paid from the supplies and materials account, which is being funded 100% by MVGT.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Award contract to Cocosing Materials, Inc., Columbia Township, in the amount of $241,125 for the asphalt materials. Cocosing plants at Sheffield and Columbia bidded, and if the materials purchased from the Sheffield plant prices will be honored. The estimated purchase was $260,000 to be paid from the account of supplies and materials, which is being 100% funded by MVGT.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Release retainage to KMU Trucking and Excavating, Inc., Avon, in the amount of $11,324.28, plus interest for the work performed on Mills Road Bridge Replacement Project. All necessary paperwork has been received.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Under the Sheriff, approve and enter an agreement with Columbia Township Police Protection retroactive to April 1st, 2008 through March 31st, 2012. This is due to the increase of hourly fees paid by the township as a result of the new collective bargaining agreement for the deputies.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Approve and enter in dock lease with Vermilion Port Authority in the seasonal amount to be $2,700 to be paid from the Drug Task Force levy monies account. This 33-foot boat was purchased as part of the Homeland Security Initiative for Infrastructure Protection, Drug Interdiction, and Illegal Alien Border Crossings.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Cortez, County Administrator?
Thank you. Commissioners, just a brief housekeeping issue to update you. We received a letter of concern on parking issues with respect to the Greyhound service that we started over at the Annex building, and I was asked to look into that, and we are making a number of minor changes to try to alleviate any stress with the parking situation there. Clearly, we can't monitor private parking lots, but we can incorporate some additional changes that may help that situation. One will be that I contacted the city of Elyria earlier this week and asked that they designate a parking spot close to the Annex building across the street as 15-minute drop-off and pick-up parking for Greyhound. And I received a favorable response from the Safety Service Director, but he still has to get back to me, but he was not negative to the idea. That would, because right now we currently do not have any parking up in front there for people to stop and drop off and pick up, and trying to get around back by the time they're coming down the road and they see signage and things hasn't worked. So they are dropping right into the parking lot of that private business at the corner. We're also going to procure and then install some additional signage that indicates that parking of a long-term nature should be on the corner of 3rd and Middle Avenue, and that they can proceed. It's only a very short walk down the block to the Greyhound facility. And then there'll be signage at the rear of the building for drop-off, because we do take cargo for Greyhound, and Greyhound does drop off cargo, so we're going to put a chain link enclosure in the back under the cantilever of the building so that we can do a little bit better with the freight, and that'll stop holding up some of the traffic along 3rd Street there with the parking issue too in that lot. I don't know if these changes are going to have a huge effect on where people park, but at least we're making some efforts to address the situation. And since we talked about it here, I felt it prudent to update you out here in the public hearing room with that. And Ron and I have those things underway right now. I don't know that it's going to stop people from parking wherever they want. As we've indicated to the businesses down there, we experience the same difficulty with our parking lots. People come and they park wherever they can find a spot to park, and they don't have a lot of responsibility towards what's posted and or what the parking lot is actually there for. So we are trying, but the one thing I don't want to do, and what they want to come over and they want us to go out there and chase people out of the lot, and I just don't want to get into those confrontational situations with people parking over there. I think their parking issues are theirs, but we will try to take the stress off of that and provide other opportunities for people using Greyhound. And that concludes my report this morning. Thank you.
Mr. Ennis, Assistant County Prosecutor.
Commissioners, I would like to request an executive session to discuss several matters of pending litigation.
Commissioners report.
Well, I don't really have a report, but I want to wish my fiance Ron Massimiani a happy birthday today. He's in the audience, and I wasn't sure what I was going to get you, but I think I'm going to go pick it up Saturday at 3 o'clock. So, belated birthday present.
Oh, is that when the dogs are...
Did you want a dog, Ron?
He's
not
shaking his
shaking-
head no.
He's taking his head. You're not supposed to get you a present for his birthday. You're supposed to get him a
I
present.
know.
Had the opportunity this week, I was in Columbus on Monday, meeting with Corsa, our insurance company, and legal. Jerry, I need some things I need to discuss with you, also an executive, I can add that. Jim and I did a conference call down there, and we need to do a return phone call today.
On Corsa?
Yes,
I haven't received anything from Corsa since we did that conference call.
I have.
Oh, you have, okay.
Or and I have, so I've been in contact, so I'd like to finish that up from what you and I talked about the other day and fill in the two commissioners.
Okay. In executive session?
Yeah, it has to be under executive sessions, what Corsa advised me.
The attorneys are conferring.
Okay, well, why don't you?
One thinks he is.
I think from what
Whoops.
I know and what you've discussed, it will be related to the pending litigation.
Correct.
To the extent that
That's what
it
I
is.
was told from Corsa, so
Okay.
that's going to be executive session, I just had to announce it today. So
Okay.
I normally don't do legal and executive, so it's Jerry and your job, but she told me I had to do that. Also, nice job again, Sheriff Stamiti, the contract with Columbia Township. I wish more of the townships would participate to have more police road patrols out there. It was a nice job. And thank you for answering Commissioner Blair's questions. Also, Commissioner Blair, tomorrow I may not be able to make NOAC. I've been asked to testify in Columbus on the energy bill for alternative energy. The bill comes out at 3 o'clock. They're going to contact me and let me know if I'm testifying today or Monday. It's Friday or Monday, so I'll get back to you. And also condolences, a very dear friend of mine, actually, my cousin is married to her son, Steffi Sensel, who has been a stalwart of the Lorain City Democrat Party and a dear friend and confidant, passed away.
Stephanie?
Yeah,
Steffi did?
Steffi passed
Oh,
away.
I didn't know that.
She was 93 years old, dedicated most of her life to the city of Lorain, and a staunch Democrat, one of the best. So
She was, too.
my condolences out to her and her family. That's in my report.
Thank you, Commissioner, and thank you for letting me know this morning. I didn't get a chance, well, my computer was not operating for some reason this morning at home, and I did not get a chance to read the death notices. They have a picture of her as a young girl, and then as she appears later in life. And she was just a beautiful woman, and anybody who doesn't appreciate their citizenship should read her obituary. I'd like to state that we had a very successful Community Alliance meeting last Friday. I'm reporting to David Hashenhurst specifically because he was not able to be here, but he inquired. We had close to 90 participants. As I announced several times, we had 5 presenters at that meeting, and I was very pleased. The Ohio Rail Development Commission brought their chief executive officer with them to this meeting. His name is Matt Dietrich. He happens to be a graduate of Marion L. Steele High School from Amherst. And All Aboard Ohio brought their chief executive, Andrew Bremer. So we had 2 very high up the ladder executives in attendance at our meeting, and I was very pleased that they were in attendance. The newspapers gave a lot of coverage to the road conditions and what roads will be resurfaced, et cetera, but the other part of the presentations included what might be in the offing for Lorain County with respect to rail, and so that was of particular interest to me. And also, Dan Martin was a presenter from our Metro Parks, and he talked about the new bike way that will go through the steel mill yards in Lorain. And don't forget, the kickoff is on May 10th at the Lorain location where the bike trail ends now. So that ought to be exciting. This program lasted 2¼ hours. It was very long. Anybody who would like to watch it, it will be run on Lorain County Community College cable channel starting Friday, April the 11th through Friday, April the 18th. each evening at 8 p.m. So if you don't like the regularly scheduled programs, tune this in at 8 o'clock. You might get a little flavor for what's going on with respect to Lorain County transportation in Lorain County. Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Board correspondence.
I move the reading be waived.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Public comment?
Public? Doug Messer.
Yeah, come on up, Doug.
Bring the dog with you, Doug. He liked you.
Well, I always like to come over here early so I can visit with the dog. Good morning, Commissioners. I wanted to just make a couple of comments and that I felt were worthy of note. One, I wanted to acknowledge the amount of requests that you get from the justice system, because I made, in March, I think I made 3 myself. So I just wanted to publicly acknowledge the fact that, you know, that does take up a big chunk of your budget, a big chunk of your attention and things like that. But I also want to note that besides, you know, the vehicles and the cameras and the build-out that I requested, I wanted to make a point of clarifying on the build-out. When I wrote the letter regarding the plans for the potential family court, the legislation had not been introduced by Representative Kazura for the potential change back to a probate situation. But the reason that I placed the build-out of the magistrate hearing rooms last and placed that as foremost in your letter was the fact that we need that regardless. Whether there would be a family court situation or whether there would be a probate situation, the number of hearings and the division of labor among our magistrates on the second floor requires them to shuffle around between hearing rooms and often have to keep the public waiting because there is no hearing room available. So the hearing room issue is one that I would like you to consider regardless of your feelings or, you know, or perspective towards the family court changeover. So I just want to make sure that issue was separate as you consider these things.
Okay, excuse me, Doug, the magistrate's hearing rooms was part of the original plan with the, I haven't gone.
Yeah, yes, in the plans, there is a shell already designated for magistrate hearing rooms. It's just not finished. It's, you know, it's roughed in, you know, the line, you know, all the electric, the heating. Unlike the 5th floor, the electric, the heating, all the things are run in there. It's just it's just not finished. And, you know, because of the number of hearings that we're having for juveniles, we're, you know, in particular, and the division of labor among the magistrates, and you would have no way of knowing this, but at one point there was, you know, there was such thing as a law clerk magistrate whose primary function was to do research and handle things for the judges. That person no longer has that ability. They are you know, now taking on a full a docket of their own and dealing with emergencies such as domestic violence cases. So there is an ongoing need for hearing rooms. So if you have 9 hearing rooms and 11 magistrates, then obviously you have a problem. I know the general division, and I've discussed with Tim Luby the idea that we could even share some of those hearing rooms with the general division should that become necessary. But I just wanted to bring that to your attention, that was an issue that, you know, that would be necessitated in the family court structure, but was actually necessitated by the numbers. And if you needed more information, I would be happy to provide that to you.
Jim, do you have the information on the magistrates' hearing rooms from the original plans, or?
Yeah, I have all that, Commissioner.
I'm going to have to update myself with Commissioner Kukowski, maybe refresh Commissioner Blair's on.
I could do that in the coming week or two. I mean, I'll have to go back and take a look at that. But a lot of this is going to be up in the air until a final decision is made on respect to family court, probate court. You know, clearly there's a lot of information out there on both sides of the table. My recommendation is going to be, until that matter is fully vetted and resolved, we shouldn't do anything, because that's going to have an effect on what we overall do and what the overall costs are going to be. And I still don't have a clear picture of what the staffing is going to be. There's no sense building anything until we have that resolved. But I did get some I did have some positive discussions with Doug and Judge Burrows about how they may be doing things, but I still don't have a clear picture of what the future is going to look like with regards to how they're going to staff a family court and how many bodies are going to be there and how many rooms we're going to need. It's a lot more complicated than that, but I do agree that there is need for some build-out back there, and we did have that in our schedule early on.
Well, and that's why I wanted to bring it to your attention, because that, I know a lot of these things you may hesitate to act on because of the pending matters that are, the family court situation being up in the air. But, as far as the hearing rooms go, the hearing rooms, are going to be a necessity, given the volume of the hearings, regardless of how family court goes. So that's why that we would ask that you consider this, early on in the process, as opposed to, the legislative action, which, as you know, could take, months or run into 2009.
I anticipate if there is a legislative action that it will have to be concluded before the November election, that it can't go past the November election. If it goes past the November election, we have family court. If it's acted upon before the November election, then we have a probate court. I don't think it's going to drag on.
Well, and then, as you know, they don't, the session only runs through May, and they do not go back into session until after the election.
Right.
So that would actually say, and if we don't have any action by May, and I'm certainly, would certainly be satisfied with if the commissioners would agree to look at, the hearing room issue subsequent to the May session. That I would still, as I indicated, I still believe that to be a need that we have, regardless of where family court goes. But if you feel it's prudent to wait until May, or until other matters are resolved regarding the monies that the bond dollars and things of that nature, I'm certainly that 2 months is not going to impact us. We will continue to address it as we have, which is waiting on a hearing room to be available.
Yeah, I think we both will agree that if we go out of session at the end of May and it hasn't been acted upon, I think it probably will die on the legislative floor. The other issue that I want the board to be cognizant of, since we're talking about these things, and some of them have some significant dollar cost, is that in my place, because I'm busy with other activities, I've had Ron working with the judges on Justice Center security. Correct. And I got to tell you, this is going to be bang, bang, cha-ching. There is a lot of expenditures that they want to do on this Justice Center.
Draws is laughing
Right.
back here. He and I just spoke about that
Right.
this morning.
And I'm trying to work my way through it. Ron's been taking the meetings. I went to the initial ones. And Draws is part of that, and Ron's here. I see big dollar signs, and while I clearly understand the need to provide the best services in the most convenient location possible, we only have so many dollars, and they're going to have to be spread over a certain amount of need, and it's going to be a push-pull. So we also have to vet out how much money we're going to have to put into the Justice Center, because if we don't do it, we're probably going to be ordered to do it by the judges. And I'm really distressed at that, because the Justice Center is brand new, and we built it to the standards that were in place at the time with respect to Justice Center security, and now it's only got all these new things that want to be done. There's only so much money, and there's only so many places that we can put that money with regard to more Justice Center build-out and work. And I know, Doug, you've been cooperative. I'm not being contrary with you. I'm just pointing out that to the public here, that there's a lot of other expenses that are potentially in the queue that we may not be able to manage or control, that need to be addressed and will be coming up in the coming months. I don't know when Draws and Ron are going to be done working with the judges over there, or when we're going to see a final needs assessment. Ron, do you have any idea when that's going to likely occur?
Not at this point, they're close. I mean,
But-
I think we've resolved a lot of the issues.
I would
But
guess within the next 30 days, Jim, by my conversation.
Okay.
That sound about right, Draws, on the safety issues?
Some of the equipment that needs
Right.
to be upgraded right now in front, but there's going to be other proposals that we're still working on.
You know, 1 year at a
Clearly,
time.
items that don't work, have to be replaced.
Right. And one of the magnetrons have been an ongoing issue. They've been up and down, and there's needs there. And because of some design issues that were wanted at the time by the stakeholders, we have a bit of an issue on security in those areas that need to be addressed. But I was actually surprised at the potential dollar value of what's going to be needed, and we are starting to, lose traction with regard to the resources to pay for those things. I know Betty's going to tell me stop talking like the cup's half empty, but right now it's got a big crack in it and it's leaking.
Spilling over, huh?
It's not flowing over. I wish it was flowing over.
No, I said spilling.
It's not spilling over, it's draining. So I want to make the board aware that while we want to be cooperative, we're going to have to start picking and choosing on the priorities.
Doug, anything
Well,
else?
and I do have just one other thing, just as a matter of demonstrating, the continuing effort. We've had a record number of girls being held in the detention home for the last 3 months. The average daily population usually, historically has been around 12. Last year it was up into the high teens. January, February, and March, the average daily population was over 20. Because of the staffing requirements, this has necessitated over time at least one, sometimes even 2 additional staff at the tune of about $2,500 a week for that additional staff. We are taking today, I have asked the detention home director and the directors of residential services to move the girls into the boys' facility, into the wing, and have them share a facility until such time as the girls' population comes down to eliminate the overtime, or the boys' population increases to a point where we can no longer hold that many children in a facility. This is the only way that we have to avoid the level of overtime that is, that will end up costing you because of the nature of the type of mandated cost that is, as well as our budget. So I just wanted to make you aware of that, so that you were aware that we are, we are being prudent. We're looking, when we send over requests, the vehicles were to replace vehicles. That it was not to add vehicles. The cameras, we haven't had security upgrades. And much like the magnetometers, magnetrons in the Justice Center, a great deal of it just doesn't work. So it's not, looking at, as what has been often referred to as the Cadillac version. We're just looking at, as what I'm looking at as a Chevy Malibu. We're just trying to get something that's both functional, workable, and prudent.
Yeah, I got to echo what you're saying. You and I have talked a lot, and we've tried to find unique and innovative solutions. One of the things on the vehicles is I do have my vehicle list, and I'm getting ready to flip some vehicles to resolve your need with current inventory to get you some vehicles to replace those ones that are past their service life. And I have that on my desk now, and I know that that's been a pressing situation. My intentions are to flip some out of our fleet that are not getting a lot of use, make maximum resources available. So I'm looking at our usage chart on our fleet vehicles and seeing which ones we can get more life out. We have some that are a little bit older but have very low miles on them, and those will be great over at the DR, and I'll be finishing up with that, and we can take a look at that. The other issue is, how old is the DR now? It's the building is what, about 25 years old now?
Yeah, 87.
Yeah, it's, so, that facility is reaching the end of its service life very soon here, because it has had a lot of upgrades and a lot of changes since it's been built. The only thing we did was put the huts down below. We got grants to do that, but they never gave us any operating money, and then we had to do a lot of work with those. But the detention home itself is an aging facility, and we have that need. We have the jail need. I mean, there's a lot of needs out there. And sooner or later, Lorain County is going to have to recognize, like every place else, these are not, as Doug says, they're not Cadillac items, and they're necessary items, and we're going to have to address that issue too.
If you do have any questions, please, if you could just direct them through your administrator, I'd be happy to provide you with whatever information you need to assist you in any of these issues as you consider them.
Thank you very much, Doug. Madam Clerk, it's time for the public hearing.
Okay. I think Kathy's here to do that.
Commissioners, I'm happy to be here again today. It's Mary Duffy from Peck, Schaefer, and Williams. We are acting as bond counsel for the proposed issuance of bonds by the County of Lorain for the benefit of Catholic Healthcare Partners and its nonprofit affiliates. I have with me today Jennifer Kennedy, who is from Catholic Healthcare Partners as their Director of Marketing and Communications. The resolution and the public hearing is regarding the issuance of bonds for the, by the County of Allen, but in cooperation with counties across the state, including this county, for the refunding of a number of prior bond issues and for some additional hospital facilities. The reason for the bond issue is, as you're aware, because of the roiling in the markets, and especially with respect to auction rate securities, it's necessary to restructure all those auction rate securities, and that's being done in different ways. We'll be, I think, speaking with you again in a couple weeks about refunding or restructuring some of those securities to a fixed rate or a variable rate with a letter of credit structure. What happened is that with the insurance companies' exposure to the collateralized debt mortgage obligations, through no fault of any county or any nonprofit healthcare system or any other any of the other borrowers, the interest rate on those bonds has spiked precipitously, causing a great deal of expense to the nonprofit hospitals. The restructuring will bring that rate down and effectively get rid of the influence of the insurance companies and their bad credit. So the credit of the counties, the credit of the hospitals has not changed, and they are as strong as they ever were. But unfortunately, because of the insurance companies, they have to react to that market. The resolution in front of you, again, will allow the County of Allen to issue these refunding bonds and some new money bonds. I can answer any questions about the bond issue or about the resolution. Ms. Kennedy can answer any questions about the healthcare system.
Thank you, Mary. The principal amount is mentioned in section 4. It's $1,100,000. Is that correct?
It's actually, Commissioner, it's
1 billion.
three extra zeros there, in which
Well, that's why I wanted you to correct me.
it boggles the mind when one sees that many zeros. But in fact, again, because we're reacting daily to what the market tells us, in fact, I think the bond issue will be a mere $300 million. And again, most of that is refunding and refunding bonds. The rest of the bonds, and again, we'll be speaking with you about this in 2 weeks, I hope, will be not refunded, but converted to a fixed rate interest rate or to a variable rate interest rate with a letter of credit, so that the bondholders are secured. But instead of actually refunding the bonds, they'll just convert the interest rate on those bonds.
In the email that we received from Thomas Onasco, he points out that we, the county, reserve the right, on our behalf, to make changes to the agreement relying on the language in the bond resolution permitting changes that are not adverse to the county.
Absolutely, Commissioner.
Mr. Cordez, I see you're itching to speak.
Well, I had the same thing. I appreciate you noticing that, Madam Commissioner. What my question is that language in the resolution that you've prepared, or do we need to make that supplemental in the resolution?
It's always in the resolution. We always make sure that you retain the right to make changes, but only those that are not adverse to the county and only those that are approved by your council.
Yeah, because it says despite the approval of the board today, so that would indicate to me that language may not have been in your...
No, in fact it is,
Okay,
and
that's
it
fine.
always
Mary.
is.
I've known you a number of
Absolutely.
years, so I don't have any problem with that.
It's section 2.
Okay, great. Commissioners, as always, we sent this over to our bond councils to be vetted, and they didn't see a problem with it. I'm just surprised that Lorain County wasn't where you decided to do your issuance, because usually we do them here in Lorain County. So I hope you're doing well down in Allen County with regard to the issuance down there.
There will, I think Catholic Healthcare Partners, again, I'm acting not as their counsel, but as bond counsel. And I think they, as far as I know, have been very thankful and grateful to the county for the work that they've done with the county, and they will be continuing, I understand, because bonds will remain outstanding, to be working with the county and hope to keep that cooperative relationship.
They're the largest employer in the city of Lorain and the second largest employer in Lorain County, and have been good corporate citizens within the community.
Other questions from the commissioners?
Hope you asked them, Commissioner.
Anybody in the audience, since this is a public hearing? Okay, thanks, Mary.
Thank you,
I'll move for
Commissioners.
approval.
Close the public hearing first.
Oh, I have to close the public hearing. Pardon me, Madam Clerk.
Second.
Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Now I move for approval of the resolution authorizing.
Second.
Any discussion? Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you again, Mary. And Patrick Miller is our new county employee. I would like him to come forward to the microphone so he can, the public can see him and the commissioners can see him. He can't even hear me. Maybe he's not the right employee. I think
Not
he is.
listening to you, Commissioner.
Well, is that unusual? Patrick, introduce yourself to the commissioners this morning. I had the chance to meet you last week, but I'm not sure everybody did.
Oh, okay. My name is Patrick Miller. I just started in the Community Development Department. My experience includes handling all the tax abatements in Cuyahoga County. A few years ago, I worked in their Department of Development. I was a former banker for about 30 years. I have an MBA from Pepperdine University and a bachelor's degree from Kent. And that's pretty much it.
Welcome.
Thanks.
On board.
I just want to say the reason I did want to come into Lorain County is because I think it's more professional than Cuyahoga County. I just want to
Thank you.
We think so too, yeah. Is there anyone else in the audience who wanted to speak under the public forum today? If not, I'll move we go into executive session for the purposes outlined by the administrator and the assistant county prosecutor.
I'll second.
Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Will you be sticky notes?
Unless otherwise announced, meetings are held Thursday mornings at 9:30 at the Lorain County Administration Building, 226 Middle Avenue, 4th floor, downtown Elyria. These are public meetings, and as always, you are invited to attend.